Good morning, love. I hope you slept well. My name is Beth. I am a life coach. I help you find more joy in your life so you can stop being miserable and start having more fun. Today's question is, are you keeping track of your progress on your goal? My answer is yes. So my goal, again, as a refresher, is to start eating better. And so I am keeping track of, so I'm doing like a food log, like I'm keeping track in MyFitnessPal, and I keep track of that, like what I'm eating. And I'm also keeping, like, because I'm an emotional eater and all that fun stuff, so I'm also keeping like a little emotional eater journal. So just of like, this is what I was feeling, and this is what I ate, and this is how it made me feel, and all that fun stuff. So, why is this important? Do you have to do it? You don't have to do it, but it does help you be more self-aware of your goal. And you can keep track, no matter what your goal is, you can keep track of your progress, or even just in the very beginning to be like self-aware of things. Like, for example, let's say your goal is you want to read a book over the next month. And because right now you haven't read a book in years because you don't have time or whatever. But you have a goal, you want to read a book in a month. So if you keep track of your time, or of, like, let's say you're like, okay, I think I could read a book and like read a couple pages at night before I go to bed. But if you don't know how, but you keep feeling like you don't have time, but if you don't know how you're spending your time, because there's always time, it's just whether you make time for it or not. So if you don't know how you're spending your time, then it's harder to add that habit in. So a good way to track your progress is by just like keeping a log of like, what are you doing the times and stuff like that. And then you might be able, because that could also help you see patterns. And so then you could be like, oh, okay, well, maybe after I do this, I could grab my book and read for 5 minutes, and to start small and be like, okay, you know what, like, while I'm getting this practice in to read a book, I'm going to set a timer and read a book for 1 minute. You have time for that, right? But unless you are keeping track of these things, you don't know, in your mind, because your mind is very good at playing trickery and getting you to not change and stuff. So it'll come up with all kinds of crazy excuses and all this stuff. So if you're not tracking it, if you don't, take that effort to be self-aware, then you don't know. And you just are going to believe your brain who's not on board with you changing and making positive things happen in your life. So that's a good way to do, is to keep track of it. So yeah, you can do it just because I'm trying to eat healthy and there's easy, apps and all that for that. It doesn't matter what your goal is and what you're trying to do. There's a way that you can kind of keep track of it and be aware of it and all of that fun stuff. And it's important, again, so that you are, Daddy, come on. Leave it. No, come on. Sorry. So it's important to keep track of it so that you can be onto your brain when it's lying to you. And that way you can see progress. And then, because your brain is also very adaptive. So let's say you've been doing this habit for like a month, right? And you're getting pretty good at it. Your brain is like, oh, this is the new normal. So it forgets that, like with reading the book, it forgets that you started with not reading a book. So then if you're up to reading like 5 minutes a day, your brain, because it's a jerk, is going to be like, oh, we're only reading 5 minutes a day. Oh my God, this is terrible, right? Because it forgets, or like makes you forget about the fact that you weren't reading any at all. So your brain's not on your side with like encouraging you and all that stuff, right? So you have to keep track of this stuff. So you could look back and be like, wait, a month ago I wasn't reading anything, and now look how far I am, by reading 5 minutes a day, right? So it's good to keep track of that stuff so you can look back and like really see your progress versus trying to remember your progress, because that's going to kind of fail you every time. So anyway, that is the question. So are you keeping track of your progress? And then follow up, like, what are you doing, or how are you keeping track of your progress? Let me know in the comments. And if you need help, you have any questions, anything like that, you can send me a message, and I will talk to you later. I hope you have a great day. Bye!